It's cathartic for you?
It's a great question, and it's something I've thought about a lot because a lot of my work previous to this was also quite personal. And this film, I think, I have a short film called Still Processing, and it's also about kind of processing grief, and it's a much more of a documentary. Whereas this film, I think, it is kind of a different phase in my life where it's more of an acceptance rather than catharsis. And I think that's what the film became about throughout the making of it. But I think I really try to make films that are also accessible to other people's experiences, and trying to make it so that it's not just personal, but also something that other people can reflect their own experiences onto, and because it is I think, as you know, working in the field, a systemic issue that is affecting a lot of people, and it's just not really spoken about very openly. So that was more my impetus, I think, for making it rather than personal therapeutic purposes. I mean, of course, it's incredible to get to make a film that is so deeply personal, but my hope is that it's more for other people, and also it was deeply a gift for my parents as well.
There's a question right down there.
Yeah, for sure. So questions about the visuals of the film. So this was a talent to watch. I don't know if you guys know what that is. So yeah, Telephone Fund. But it was also a co-production with Hungary, which I think maybe we're the first tiny. It's so tiny, like such a tiny co-production. But essentially, what I'm saying is a very small budget, so we had to be very savvy. So we filmed everything in this house, this empty house, and so Victoria, our production designer, she filled the house, slowly because they were moving into the house, and that was partly I wrote from like a budgetary place. How do we have a house that's not fully lived in, helps with the budget, but then ultimately it's also a period film, so that adds an extra cost on top of it. But she was just so meticulous with every detail. Like there's nothing in the film that you would. I don't think there's any anachronistic things because she was so dedicated to the details. Like certain plastics that were not used or colors that were popular. Like she was really, really rigorous. And then with my cinematographer, Maya Bankovic, she was a local Toronto hero in my eyes, but she's incredible. She's been working for years and years in the industry, in television, in independent film, in documentaries, and someone I really admired. We worked together in a way that was we became sort of like one gaze, like we were really truly so married and aligned with our vision for the film. And we shot a lot of the film on this like long zoom lens. And so we never had a dolly and we never moved the camera. So we were always on a tripod. And this allowed us to give the actors a lot of space. So we found a house that was all one level so that we could light the house from the outside of the house and not infringe on the actors with a ton of equipment. So it was mostly shot either from the outside of the house or from far away whenever we could, just to give the actors space. And that's actually, I think, something I did learn in the Cassavetes book. Yeah, because he would do that. So he'd steal locations in New York. So he would like shoot Peter Falk from 20 yards away. Yeah. So yeah, and we did visual research as well. Like there's films that were references, but it's really like sporadic. There's no like one film we were following, but yeah, like we looked at like Altman films because he uses a lot of long zooms, and then and even this there's a mini series by Derek C. in France. I Know This Much Is True, which is like beautifully shot and very modern. So we looked at like older references, but also more contemporary. Yeah.
Question there.
I thought it was excellent. I thought it was really interesting how you blurred fiction and documentary through the course of the film. The scene with the focus group of social workers, I'm just wondering, was that actors or social workers, or actors who were social workers?
That would be amazing if it was actors who were social.
There's a perfect blend of like, if it was shot not like a documentary scene.
Yeah. It's a great question. Can I bring Sarah Wiley on stage for a minute? She's one of my producers, and she was really the one who orchestrated this. And so I'd love for her to speak to it. Yes, yeah. So the question, yes, so Sarah Wiley, Vancouver local co-producer on the film. So the question was about the social worker scene, and were they actors? Were they real social workers? How did we cast it go about it, and yeah, I would love for Sarah to speak to it.
Yeah, I mean, it was, Sophie and I both spent all the time on it in years speaking with social workers. We started with a few and started consulting. We went to a few youth drop-in centers and met folks in Vancouver, places where, youth like Jeremy would end up probably. So yeah, there was a couple years, and so we must have, I don't know how many social workers we talked to over that period of time. And then mostly spoke to them over Zoom and then introduced them to Sophie. And then we kind of whittled it down towards the end of these folks. And I think the thing that I was always really impressed with was just how everybody understood the film. Like we kind of presented the general idea to them and what we were trying to do, and everybody was immediately on board. And we're like, I get this, I get this art therapy, I get what you're trying to process here, and I'm really here to, dissect it. And also, I think what's so wonderful is they also offer a lot of analysis of like how the social work system has changed and not changed, and had some strong opinions about that as well. So yeah, it was a really wonderful process.
So ultimately,
They were real social workers. They were real social workers that Sarah and I together, we interviewed, but then cast essentially to play themselves as social workers. And then the way that we shot the scene was that we set up 3 cameras to shoot, and we shot a 3-hour conversation that was a real conversation, unscripted, where they were given documents that were real documents from my own family, and asked to discuss this case and give their professional opinion of what they would do, and what they imagine would have been done then and 20 years ago, and what they imagine would be done differently. And because we'd done so much research, I kind of knew where the conversation would go, which is essentially, yes, there are some more resources, but ultimately we're still living with a huge gap in youth resources and mental health resources and addiction resources. And so kind of knowing that, we had this staged conversation, but Amy herself as an actor was the one guiding the conversation. And I was off camera, slipping her questions and stuff. So anyway, it's really bizarre, but it was real social workers that, a long conversation that we edited down to 6 minutes or whatever it is. But the intention is it shouldn't take you out to feel like it's totally a documentary, but I think the feeling you're describing is intentional, that you're like, is this real, is this not? But yeah, because it is a blend. So anyway, Sarah Wiley.